What have you learned in the last year or so? I mean, since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, I think you cannot deny that we all realized how fragile we as people are and our societies are. Countries, even the most powerful countries with advanced healthcare systems, saw those systems crumble like dominoes. While we, whoever we are and wherever we are, see the world around us as changing forever. Most of us sat and watched tragedies unfold like a horrible movie. A few of us even got to play a part in the real-life version. Whether you are the infected or the one that had to watch friends die. Or like me, you may have sat in your den, refused to be silenced, and make films. Hopefully, we all learned an important lesson. The lesson? This is a war we must win. Trying to play a relevant role during the pandemic time is not that easy. But our team worked very hard since early on. Somehow we sensed the battle was on the horizon, and we released a video called Stop the Flu back on December 30th, 2018. We urged people to take flu shots, wash their hands, and be careful of a possible flu outbreak. That was about 1 year before the first case was reported, and we were attacked like never before. We lost 30 subscribers in just 30 minutes. Then we revised the video and changed the suggestions of getting vaccine to just simply washing your hands. It still received numerous attacks, although it was an awesome video with multiple festival wins. Now back in 2018, no one knew the name of the flu-like disease, but there were many warning signs. You may laugh at us back in 2016, but this crop circle appeared, and our team decoded it by calling it a warning of a disease outbreak transmitted by a bat. And we did not copy this from somewhere. We were the original decoders on calling it out at that time. We were not crying wolf or used thrilling titles just to simply gain YouTube views. No, we did so because we found convincing evidence in ancient prophecy that something terrible was about to hit us. We don't know what it might be, but we thought it is more than likely going to be a flu-like virus that was attacking us and transmitted by a bat, and it was not going to be able to be stopped by washing your hands or with a vaccine. In our video, Doomsday Plague is Here, according to Nostradamus, which was released in December on the 30th of that month, 2018, the same day we released Stop the Flu. We referred to Nostradamus' Century 3, Quatrain 92. The world near the last period, Saturn will come back again late. Empire transferred towards the dusky nation. The eye plucked out by the Goshawk at Narbonne. We have to admit, there are many doomsday quatrains in Nostradamus' 942 predictions in the Book of Prophecy. Actually, we found many doomsday references in Century 2 of the book. We called it Doomsday Chapter in our book, The Future According to Nostradamus. However, we do believe that this quatrain referred to 2018's Yellow Vest movement because there was a reference of Dusky Nation and Narbonne. The Yellow Vest movement started with a protest of the removal of a gas tax supplement when the government tried to reduce pollution. While Narbonne was pro-monarchy during the French Revolution, its leader, Louis, Comte de Narbonne-Lara, left France before the revolution and was not allowed back after the revolution. Actually, he joined Napoleon's service. And Narbonne was not even a part of France till the 16th century. So we know this is not referring to either the French Revolution nor any other time. What if we brought up different issues and we cannot convince you of that quote being about current time? Then why don't you check out the video we released in December 11th, 2018 called 2019, The Beginning of the End According to Nostradamus. In that video, we started showing you how our 2017 predictions predicted many major events by using clues found in Nostradamus' Book of Prophecy, and how, based on our theories, that Nostradamus often grouped related prophecies into clusters. We pointed out the prophecy after the one above, pinpointed the timing of the coming doomsday. Let's take a look at Century 3, Quatrain 93.
In Avignon, the chief of the whole empire will make a stop on the way to desolated Paris. Tricast will hold the anger of Hannibal. Lions will be poorly consoled for the change.
The prophecy created a word. The word was called tricast. Do you know that the chief President Macron became president after 3 votes? That is the tricast. While Paris was desolated twice in the past 500 years, once in the French Revolution and once now. While the person stated yellow best is from Narbonne, and Avignon was not even part of France till after the French Revolution. We did not know the name of the disease, but we referred to a few possible viral outbreaks and ended with warnings of possible flu outbreaks. And we also pointed to this prophecy. Let's look at Century 5, Quatrain 63.
From the vain enterprise, honor, and undue complaint, boats tossed among the Latins, cold, hunger, waves, not far from the Tiber, the land stained with blood, and diverse plagues will be upon mankind.
We found this because we knew there was going to be a plague outbreak. And we believe this one gave all the details of the coming plague. We were right, but we were not right on. We were puzzled because the second line talked about boats tossed about. And that makes no sense, as boats are supposed to float on water, so how can they be tossed about? Well, we thought this means that the outbreak could start on refugee boats. But the word Latins also confused us, as Latin refugees do not travel on boats, while boat refugees from Syria may suffer hunger, cold, and waves, but they are not Latins. But the prophecy became a little clearer as water when COVID-19 started on the Princess ship. So what do you call a princess? Your honor, right? How do you describe the Enterprise's handling of the crisis? Useless, right? Can I call it vain? Poor cruise passengers, suffering, cold and hunger and waves when the boat docked at Japan's port, but they were not given tests nor allowed to even leave. Can we call that undue complaint? The horrible outbreak on the Diamond Princess made countries around the world block cruise boats from disembarking, forced boats to be tossed about. Well, what about Latin? Well, most of the boats were registered to Panama and Bermuda, and they're considered part of Latin America. And right after the cruise outbreak, another outbreak started near the Tiber River in Italy. It was a diverse plague because the virus was found around the world way before the pandemic, but it became a threat when dangerous mutations happened in 2020. So now you see how impossible decode warnings in the 942 prophecy book can be. Even if we find the right quatrain and sensed its meanings beforehand, we still would not understand the true full meaning. The pandemic is a great example. We did a single search on the word plague in early 2020, and 26 prophecies came up. Clues jumped out from the previous mysterious puzzle. Like, for example, we've been looking for a twin city since 2017, when we tried to find a city fitting the description that would suffer the next plague. So let's look at Century 2, Quatrain 6.
Near the gates and within 2 cities there will be 2 scourges, the like of which was never seen. Famine with plague, people out by steel, crying to the great immortal God for relief.
We know that this prophecy is of great importance, but we did not know how to find this twin city with gates. We thought it might be Seoul and Incheon, because Seoul has many gates in our January 13, 2017 video called Nostradamus 2017, What Does the Future Hold? We thought of many famous twin cities such as Minneapolis and St. Paul, but we never thought of China's most famous twin cities, Wuhan. Wuhan has many gates, and the name of Wuhan came from the merging of 2 famous cities, Wuchang and Hankou. That happened in 1927. It has many famous gates, even one commemorating the founding of the Republic of China in 1910. And the gate has been seen on its Wikipedia page. So early in 2020, after realizing what we have been looking all this time for, we published a book detailing the 26 plague prophecies, and we published it and distributed it through Amazon. The book quickly became a hit in March of 2020, and then quickly was blocked when we uploaded a minor correction. So despite great reviews, high demand, and continuous protests by us, it still remained blocked. Sadly, although our decoding may not be all correct, we did point out where the virus would hit on its first wave, and when the virus would turn the world upside down when it mutated. Our December 2018 plague warning video correctly picked Century 5, Quatrain 63 out of all the 942 quatrains. And it did foretell when the virus will hit next, the Tiber River in Italy. But the word plague also can be found in Century 4, Quatrain 20. This one gave us details on where the outbreak will happen and the incident leading to the widespread outbreak.
2 armies will be unable to unite at the walls. In that instant, Milan and Pavia to tremble. Hunger and thirst and doubt will come to plague them. Oh, so strongly. They will not have a single morsel of meat or bread or victuals.
Well, what threw us, though, and everyone off, was the first line, quote unquote, the 2 armies. We know of no armed conflict before the pandemic, but remember, the translation from ancient French to English would almost never be perfect. But look at the second line, Milan and Pavia, which is the modern-day Lombardy, gave us exactly where Italy's outbreak started. And the outbreak happened after a soccer match. That was the two armies. Nostradamus' accurate predictions on this current plague did not end there. In Century 2, Quatrain 32, he warned us about a monster to be born in northern Italy. It also talked about the conflict, which we did not understand till we figured out that Milan and Pavia won out. Nostradamus may be able to see the future, but he probably did not understand what to call the soccer match, especially when the fans went crazy. It may be hard to imagine now a soccer match brought disastrous consequences to both Italy and Spain, but scientists later confirmed that a dangerous variant circulating in northern Italy went unnoticed and spread like wildfire during the match. And Nostradamus mentioned the monster to be born near the northern Italian city of Ravenna. Century 2, Quatrain 32.
Milk. Frog's blood prepared in Dalmatia. Conflict given. Plague near Trelia. A great cry will sound through all Slavonia. And then will come a monster, born near and within Ravenna.
What is interesting is that we noticed that he mentioned milk and frog's blood, and then we released 3 videos urging people to look into this, with the first one being released on March 16th, 2020. Not only because we found a report on April 2017 which showed us about frog slime killing the flu virus. It is harmless to humans, but can even kill the deadly H1N1. While months after, we then urged to look into milk as a possible cure based on this quatrain. Several reports said vitamin D can boost the immune system to fight off coronavirus. Isn't vitamin D milk the most easily accessible ways to get vitamin D for most people? And we pointed out this quatrain in early March 2020. Century 8, Quatrain 17.
Those at ease will suddenly be cast down. The world, yes, the world put into trouble by 3 brothers. Their enemies will seize the marine city. Hunger, fire, blood, plague, all evils doubled.
We pointed out that the 3 brothers must mean England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and predicted that the UK might be spared during the early COVID wave, but it also might be hit really hard afterwards, since it stated those at ease will suddenly be cast down. And we said London is going to be hit hard, as it is the marine city, quoted in line 3. However, we were not sure why the world would put into trouble by the UK's trouble. After seeing how the entire world suffered through the pandemic, I thought no matter how bad it was, the world probably can care less. I mean, everybody just worries about themselves, right? However, turns out I was wrong. We were wrong. The UK variant brought in a new wave. The more contagious variant proved to be unstoppable. Yes, all evils doubled. Although we don't know French, we somehow decoded a very important quatrain prior to Nostradamus' scholars failed. We were puzzled by the mention of 3 pairs in Century 3, Quatrain 56. We decided to see if we could find a better translation by going to Google and translating there. but we found a big translation mistake. Have you noticed the Roman numeral showed 23, not 3? While then, even without a Google translation, 23 pairs must mean humans, 23 pairs of DNA. So we said, this is telling us something. It's telling us that the cure may be hidden in our DNA. And guess what? Pfizer and Moderna did use the innovative mRNA technologies. What else did Nostradamus say about the 23 pairs? Let's check out Century 3, Quatrain 56.
Montauban, Nimes, Avignon, and Beziers, plague, thunder, and hail in the wake of Mars, of Paris Bridge, Lyons Wall, Montpellier, after 607 score, 3 pairs.
Well, what does 607 mean? In March 2020, we made a wild guess that it means we may get the upper hand after 607 days of the pandemic. So if you used December 9th of 2019 as the start, that would give us until August 2021. Interesting. But if we use the day we started using mRNA to fight the disease, then we would be looking at August 2022. Which one do you think is more realistic? Although the COVID vaccine was developed quickly and did not really go through the usual testing procedures, it was the only weapon we had for the last 6 months. We felt we needed to let people know the importance of the vaccine. But we knew no one would pay much attention for our warnings. In November 2020, before the first vaccine rollout, we asked a famous doctor, a PhD in medicine and pharmacy, and a professor, to work with us on a short educational video. It was called The Fight Is On, Vaccine Against Virus. And it was released in English and Chinese. Now, while the Chinese version won a silver award in the short documentary category at the 54th World Fest Houston back in May of 2021, it is not easy to be an independent filmmaker. With limited budget, people can always pick on something, even when our director won a record-breaking 7 World Fest Houston awards in 2021. Even when 2 of our 4 silver 54th World Fest Silver Awards are COVID-19 related documentaries. Even though we made no money, we got very few views on YouTube. We felt we had to do what we had to do. And the process taught us a lot. For example, even when we figured some part of the prophecy out, many times we realized the true meanings afterwards. Later events revealed the missing puzzles. Like, let's look at Century 10, Quatrain 66.
The chief of London through the realm of America, the Isle of Scotland will be tried by frost. King and Reb will face an Antichrist so false that he will place them in the conflict altogether.
We found this one when we searched for Boris Johnson. He was the mayor of London, and there is only one quatrain mentioning London by name. And strangely, it talked about realm of America. We first thought it might be about Boris's friendship with his transatlantic twin, President Trump. And this is a very important quatrain for sure, as it brought up someone we looked desperately for the last several decades, that being the Antichrist. We thought the Reb can be Scotland, and the event would happen after Queen Elizabeth II left her post. And we thought Scotland may want to leave the UK, and then someone, the Antichrist perhaps, may cause a conflict. But the recent events made us feel there can be maybe another explanation. We did not realize this prophecy is being fulfilled by several recent events. First one is Prince Philip's death on August 9, 2021. Although the Queen immediately went back to serve her country as the Queen, she made Prince Charles her consort, pretty much stepping up to the King's shoes. The other event actually happened a month before that, but we did not connect it right away to the quatrain. That event was Oprah's March 8, 2021 interview with Prince Harry. Okay, let me explain to you. Poor Nostradamus probably was at a loss of words when he saw the UK's prince taking up residence in America. Sussex is only 56 miles from London by car, and you can get to London's airport in about 30 minutes, while Londoners, or Londoneers, need to spend 1.5 hours to take off from the airport. So can we assume Nostradamus was telling us the Duke of Sussex, who he called the Chief of London, would reside in the realm of America? The interview exploded some sleepy bombs buried years ago. But that was the turning point when the rebellious, handsome prince became a rebel in the eyes of his father. And I'm sure you have read stories about the conflict between his father and him, and what the future king may do when he takes the throne. Okay, so the quarrel between the British royals may not make it to the front page. However, Nostradamus gave us a glimpse of the next Antichrist. Did you see the quote, "King in red will face an Antichrist so false that he will place them in a conflict altogether"? So if we figure out who will place them in the conflict, we may very well know who may be the next Antichrist, right? No, it's not sweet Oprah. She did nothing more than reading prepared questions and deliver this touching tale of a prince and his beautiful wife. Was it CBS who aired the interview, or Time Warner, who owns 50% of CBS, or was it AT&T or Viacom, or some of their major shareholders? I don't know who was behind the interview. And the Antichrist would not intentionally stir up royal family drama just for the fun of it. Whoever created the drama did it for ratings, views, news, and money. But Nostradamus saw this as a way to reveal a message to us. The message is probably telling us the Antichrist is the one who tried to change the world through the media. That sadly has already happened. Our world is so divided by fake news, media outlets driving viewers apart by taking up positions and attacking other sides. News were shot in angles chosen by the bosses of the networks, and viewers like us had been taken hostage. Of course, maybe the next Antichrist is someone who actually is involved with the production of the Prince Harry interview. Just a thought. Maybe the Antichrist might have been behind so much of this manipulation already. Maybe we will see more conflicts caused by events like this. And maybe someone who watches this video will be more careful in digesting future news. Thank you for watching.